Sliding sports like skiing and snowboarding look breathtaking on television. But there lies a brutal truth behind all those smooth camera angles. Because when things go wrong in these winter sports, they go wrong in the blink of an eye. But before we dive into it, make sure to subscribe to our channel for more sports disaster breakdown videos. A ski jump that crossed the line between glory and death. Ski jumping is one of the most visually stunning winter sports ever broadcast on television. It is a sport where we see athletes soaring through the air like they are defying the laws of physics and gravity itself. One infamous incident happened during a major international ski jumping event when a reigning Olympic champion stepped into the in-run with complete confidence. He was quite experienced, as he had done this hundreds of times before. Everything in that event appeared normal as he launched himself forward. He was reaching highway speed within a few seconds, but then, mid-air, something went horribly wrong. Viewers who were watching all of this from their homes saw how his skis tilted awkwardly, followed by a terrifying loss of balance. Instead of gliding smoothly toward the landing zone, his body actually began to rotate. What followed was pure chaos as he slammed into the slope at extreme speed. He bounced violently and slid hundreds of feet down that icy surface. Medical teams had to rush to help him. On live television, all the fans watched medics desperately work to revive an athlete who had no heartbeat for several minutes. He was considered clinically dead before being brought back because the injuries were completely catastrophic. He had several broken bones, internal trauma, and a punctured lung. The thing that made this incident so unforgettable was not just the crash itself, but the aftermath of it, because against every expectation, he fortunately survived. He returned to the competition after months of rest and recovery, and he even regained his place at the top after his comeback. It became one of the most shocking examples of how winter sports can take everything from you in seconds, and sometimes it can give all of it back to you just as unexpectedly. Extreme skiing's most horrifying tumble.
Bouncing down the mountain, totally out of control. This fall could break every bone in Garrett's body. Listen to what one of the guys in the mountain asks.
You okay?
Extreme skiing is built on danger, and that's the appeal of this sport, where you get to see steep faces, exposed rock, and no room for error. One particular crash became quite infamous because, in the early days of televised extreme skiing competitions, safety standards were far looser than they are today. During a high-profile competition in Alaska, a skilled skier stood atop a near-vertical mountain face. There were no trees, no gentle slopes, but only a jagged rock with ice below it. Cameras started rolling as he chose one of the steepest lines possible with a route that demanded absolute precision. Just a few seconds after he dropped in, everything started unraveling when his skis got caught awkwardly. He was instantly thrown off balance due to this, and what followed was a violent, unstoppable tumble. His body went down the mountain in a cartwheeled state while smashing into rocks. He launched into the air and then slammed back down again. This fall seemed endless because he kept going. All the commentators were unable to process what they were seeing at that time. Their voices were cracking as they were trying to determine whether he was even alive or not. This entire fall lasted over half a minute, and it covered more than hundreds of feet. When he 100-opt moving, the silence was suffocating, but miraculously, he was still conscious. Medics reached him immediately, and all of them were expecting the worst condition. But against all odds, he survived with all those injuries. These injuries were definitely serious, but they were not fatal. This footage became legendary, not because someone died, but because viewers got to watch a human body endure something that looked completely unsurvivable for anyone. The downhill race that ended in tragedy.
Sehr, sehr glatt und da müssen sie jetzt sicher noch was machen, sonst ist es zu gefährlich.
Alpine ski racing is all about control, speed, and trust in your equipment, the course, and your own instincts. During a World Cup downhill event in Europe, which was being shown on television, one of the brightest stars of this sport prepared for something that should have been a routine race, but changed into something terrifying. She was a champion mom and medal favorite at the upcoming Olympics. As she launched herself out of the start gate, everything about her performance looked flawless. Because her turns were precise, her posture was perfect, and she was flying down the mountain at over 60 miles per hour. She was carving perfectly through gates with confidence, and commentators were praising her form as she approached the final section. And then disaster struck her within a split second when her ski caught an edge in soft snow. This caused her to lose control instantly, and this entire incident was quite violent as she was thrown off course. She got slammed into a hardened snowbank at full speed. This injury made her unconscious, and millions of viewers watched in disbelief as she lay there motionless on that dangerous-looking slope. A helicopter was used to immediately take her to a nearby hospital, but she died later that day because those injuries were fatal. This broadcast forced the entire world to confront the reality that even the most skilled athletes who wear helmets and race on professionally designed courses are never truly safe. If such deep dives interest you, then don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more dark moments of the winter sports history. A ski cross jump that should never have happened. Ski cross is a sport that is pure chaos by design because multiple athletes have to race side by side while hitting jumps and corners at extreme speeds. They have to do all this while constantly fighting for position. It is definitely thrilling to watch, but it also becomes quite terrifying when something goes wrong. During a World Cup ski cross event happening in Switzerland, a Canadian athlete lined up for his heat. He was competitive, experienced, and totally hungry for another podium finish. But he was unaware of what was about to happen. The race started clean with all athletes charging down the course at nearly 60 miles per hour. As they approached a critical jump, the margin for error vanished completely. This Canadian athlete misjudged the takeoff by a few inches, and that was all it took for the disaster to occur. Instead of landing smoothly, he actually veered offline and missed the landing zone entirely. His body flew into the safety fencing at a devastating angle, which caused some severe injuries. From the outside, it looked like a hard crash and not something immediately fatal. But behind the scenes, it was far worse. He suffered catastrophic head injuries, and despite immediate medical attention, he died at the age of 29. All the viewers who were watching this sports broadcast live didn't realize they were going to witness a fatal accident until hours later, when they received the news of his demise. This incident remains one of the most heartbreaking ski cross accidents ever aired on television, a safety net that became a death trap.
Das Qualifikationsrennen für die Lauberhornabfahrt in Wengen wurde von einem schweren Unfall überschattet. Der Österreicher Gernot Reinstadler erlitt schwere Beckenverletzungen, schwebt aber nicht mehr in Lebensgefahr.
Safety equipment is meant to save lives during the dangerous runs of these winter sports. In rare, horrifying cases, it can do the opposite. During a legendary downhill ski race qualification run, a young Austrian skier was fighting for his place among the world's elite. The course was one of the longest and fastest on the circuit, with speeds pushing the limits of human control. For most of the run, he looked incredible, as he was doing it smoothly, aggressively, and fearlessly. But when he approached near the end, he lost control and slammed into the safety nets at full speed. This safety net, which was installed for safety purposes, instead of absorbing the impact, actually caught his ski. It caused his body to twist violently, and he suffered massive internal injuries that were too graphic to show on television. Medics worked desperately to keep him alive, and he was rushed to surgery, but the damage was beyond repair. He died a few hours after that accident, and this broadcast left all the viewers traumatized. The organizers canceled this race out of respect for the courage of this young, rising athlete. More importantly, his death led to major changes in how safety nets were designed and installed to prevent any similar tragedies in the future. A freestyle legend's final training run.
Size of that 900, enormous.
She performed breathtaking stunts on the slopes, landing hard with a big smile, bright as the snow around her and the medals around her neck. That's what makes the news of Sarah Burke's passing so hard to believe. The 29-year-old Canadian freestyle skiing superstar succumbed to her injuries on Thursday from a fall during a training run. Burke reportedly landed a stunt, then fell over and hit her head. Doctors performed surgery to repair a ruptured cranial artery, but imaging results showed Burke would not recover. In a statement, her family said Sarah sustained severe irreversible damage to her brain due to lack of oxygen and blood after cardiac arrest. Sarah passed away peacefully, surrounded by those she loved. They said Burke's organs and tissues were donated.
Freestyle skiing has always lived at the intersection of creativity and danger because it is a discipline where athletes are not just racing the clock, but they also have to push physics itself while trying to go higher, rotate faster, and land cleaner before anyone else. The events of January 10, 2012 are considered quite difficult for the sports world to process because on that day, Sarah, who was one of the best architects of this sport, was not competing but only training on superpipes. Training runs like this were routine for her, as she had spent countless hours in pipes just like it for refining tricks that most athletes would not even attempt. Everything looked normal as Sarah dropped into the pipe. She built speed and launched into the air while initiating her rotation. This run didn't look drastically different from thousands of others she had completed over the years. But then came the landing, where Sarah came down slightly off axis and fell while striking her head on the hard-packed snow. Falls like this are not unusual in freestyle skiing because athletes constantly fall during training. But within moments, the situation took a terrifying turn when Sarah suddenly went into cardiac arrest. It seemed that a survivable fall had triggered a catastrophic internal injury, causing a ruptured vertebral artery in her neck. Medical teams rushed to give her aid, and they immediately transported her to the University of Utah Hospital in Salt Lake City. She was given intense care to reduce brain swelling and give her body a chance to recover. On January 19, 2012, Sarah Burke passed away at just 29 years old. Sarah Burke's final training run still stands as a haunting reminder that in winter sports, danger does not always announce itself loudly, and sometimes it just arrives quietly. The luge crash that shocked the Olympics. Luge is one of the fastest sports on Earth, where athletes lie inches from the ice while traveling at speeds that rival race cars, and they are guided only by subtle body movements. During an Olympic training run, that speed proved fatal for one of the rising athletes. A young luger from Georgia was preparing for his final practice run just hours before the opening ceremony. Concerns had already been raised about the track's speed, but officials declared it safe. As he launched from the start, everything seemed routine. He confidently navigated the early turns while accelerating faster and faster. Then, near the final curve, he lost control. He was thrown from the sled at nearly 90 miles per hour. In a horrifying instant, he struck an unpadded metal support pole, and that impact was fatal. Cameras captured the aftermath, and news of his death spread across the world within minutes. The Olympics were thrown into mourning, and all flags were lowered. Necessary changes were made to the track overnight, but for one young competitor, those changes came too late. It remains one of the most disturbing and unforgettable moments in Olympic winter sports history. Winter sports deliver unforgettable moments of courage, beauty, and triumph. But sometimes they also show us their darkest side while being broadcast on live television. These worst accidents changed rules, reshaped safety, and left permanent scars on the sports world. If you like this video, then make sure to subscribe to our channel for more deep dives into dark and terrifying winter sports accidents.